Give everyone a chance to get in here for the live. I'm all about impromptu painting, right? All about it. Just come up with it, you know, just straight out of our heads and right onto the canvas. Today we've got a 16 by 20 inch canvas. These ones that I bought in the multi-pack, they're a little bit more thirsty, so we had to put a little bit more liquid white on. That way by the time we get down here, it's not all dried, and you know, I'm getting down to the very last bit of my liquid white. So I gotta get another jug here. Let me get this last bit of paint thinner out of the way, and then we'll get going. I know you guys want to get started. You want to see what we've come up with. And you know that Josh makes everything up just right off the top of his head, right? So I don't even know what it's going to look like until we get done. Now for those of you not watching the live and watching the actual broadcast, the actual video where we're going to zoom in and show you all the details and stuff. On the live video you might not be able to see all the details, but we always make a secondary video showing you the details of what it took. You know, every time we get real close in here, we'll zoom in and kind of show you what is going on, right? All things that I may cut out of this video that's also filming on the other side of you YouTube guys. All right. So I had some extra paint on the palette from the last one. I used way too much. You can see how I try to sort of clean it a little bit over here. So we've got Phthalo green, sap green, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, Phthalo blue, Alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white, bright red, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and cad yellow. The only color that we're missing out of the Bob Ross set is I think this is Prussian blue actually. So we're missing the Phthalo blue, right? Every color that Bob Ross offers except for the lighter colored phthalo blue we're going to put in this painting. And I normally do a lot of sunsets. You guys know me, we do a lot of sunsets around here. But these last few days I've come up with ones like this that are dark blue canvases. I don't know how well you guys can see if I'm even in the way. And you know, I can't paint just a regular plain old blue sky. I always have to throw some dramatic type of feel to it, right? Some clouds, some dark storms, something, you know, or a lot of bright, beautiful colors in our sunsets and stuff like that. But I'm sort of on this blue sky kick right now, which is weird for me because I never really paint blue skies, so we're going to get to it. Let's do the 1-inch brush, just because we have this smaller size canvas, 16 by 20 inch canvas. And it just gives me more room to do more little things, right, if we use a smaller brush. So we're going to go into our Prussian blue. This box out of the way that I'm stepping on. Hang on. Why are we just never ready to go, Josh? Just never ready to go on these lives, right? All right, we're going to go into our Prussian blue, a little bit of midnight black. We've already primed the canvas with Bob Ross liquid white. You can see it on the fingertip there. As long as you can see the ridges of your fingerprint, then you have enough. You don't have too much, right? A little bit of black, a little bit of blue. We're going to come off over here and just sort of start dropping in these bits, right? In different size. You don't want to do all one little piece, because as you're doing different things like this, your painting will show you different places to go. So you might have one idea in your head, oh, I want to paint a mountain scene with this or that. And then you do the sky, and all of a sudden now it looks like a better sky for a seascape or a wave or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't all have to be the same. You see we grabbed a little bit more black with our blue up here. They're starting to sort of mix together and giving us this different color blue than the initial blue that we had put up there, right? I like to make the tops of my painting very dark, whether it be a sunset where it's got orange, you know, up into like purple, or whether it's blue, we want the darkest bits at the top and the lightest bits at the bottom. So again, we're just going to add some black. And we're not really blending the sky, right? Just sort of dropping the color on and watching as things take shape, right? We didn't really blend anything out, but even in the camera just already I can see, you know, different bits of clouds that we could use. Different little things we could do, right? Let's mix it in. And you see I'm leaving these wider areas. Okay, down here we're going to get really light when we go to mix it. You don't want to really use a whole lot of that. But you can see I've left these darker areas, lighter areas, bits in between our colors so that when we blend them together, you'll get these differences that you won't even believe. You won't even believe the differences you're gonna get. Because that's what I do. I literally will paint the scene, watch it come together, and then just stand back and go, wow, like, it's crazy how that turned out. I planned none of it, right? You don't have to have a plan when you go into painting. You don't have to sketch, right? This is a blank canvas. Nothing on it, no ideas, right? Just let the canvas tell you what to do. Just try it one time on one of your paintings. Do your sky, find your light area and go, okay, it would look cool if a mountain was in there. And then when your mountain's done, be like, it was cool if some forests come in there. And just sort of create your own thing following what the canvas is telling you to do, right? All you gotta do, my friends, put a little bit darker blue in here. Maybe there's a little bit of darker patch over there. And watch, I'm showing you guys some cool stuff, right? Undercover stuff. And there's a bit up here, maybe it goes this way. Across that piece, maybe we've got that. Blend it in, or we could go the other way. Totally up to us. However it starts to blend itself out, right? Put a little bit of black in there, a little bit of that dark blue and black, and we'll get this big old sort of shadow to a cloud. Again, just dropping colors in. I look back in the camera, it looks amazing, right? But when you're looking at it up close, it's very messy. Because we're not really doing much, right? We're going to take all this stuff now, start at the top, because I want the lighter, the bottom to be lighter here. So we're going to start at the top. Crisscross strokes like this. Just like Bob Ross does, right? It's like literally the easiest way to do it. And the more you do it, the faster you get at doing it. The more you paint, right? The more you practice, the faster you're going to get at something. And you see we sort of made this like S shape. Just weird, just depends on what yours looks like. I wanted a little bit more color in certain areas, or I wanted to blend this out a little bit, so I came down here, just wherever my mind takes me, right? Now we've got this very light area down in here that's very blended and very soft. Where do I have this bit of blue? It keeps dropping like a little line, a little singular line of blue on my brush. Where's it coming from? I want this very soft down here, almost as soft as the liquid white itself, right? You can barely tell a difference in the color back here. And that's going to help everything, okay? You want it to be nice and blended out. You don't want big, thick thing. You don't want to go like this and drag all that black across. Otherwise, it's not blended out enough, right? Or take all this blue. Or watch this. Take this blue, right? You're not dragging a whole ton of it down into the thing because there's not a lot of paint on there, right? You want it to be very soft and very blended, and that will help us stick a lot of clouds on. That hair to come out of there is what I want. And another one. Brushes are just falling apart on me. Right, but you want all these differences, different blues, whites, gray, dark, lighter color, dark at the top. You want all these little differences, okay? You don't want to paint it just all this one color blue. That's what this liquid white does. It helps sort of spread everything out so you're not bland, right? And you don't even have to do anything. It does it literally on its own. There's no... Oh, wow, I can almost see this giant cloud here. Maybe the base of another one that gets cut off by that one. The base of another one up there, or we could do a bigger bit of dark kind of coming in. So just different things you can see from, just blending it out, letting it happen. Do it on its own. And then even in this sky, I could do all these crazy clouds, and then I could decide all of a sudden I want to put ocean right here. Do a whole thing of ocean and do a beach. And that's literally the best part of painting is you can change your idea, you can do what you want, especially when you don't have an initial idea, right? It's almost like you're giving yourself inspiration. Oh, wow, I've almost seen that in my mind somewhere over the ocean. And then we put the ocean in there. You know what I mean? Totally up to you. I know the ocean scenes are very popular. I just don't enjoy really painting waves, right? That'll probably come back to bite me in the butt. And down the road, I'll be an exclusive wave painter of the ocean, right? But I just don't enjoy it. It's very bland, it's very flat, there's not a lot of detail, it's just boring to me. Alright, we're going to take our knife. You can use the small one or the large one or the plastic one or a butter knife or a freaking razor knife if you wanted to. Just whatever you have, whatever flat little surface that you have or that you can find, right? In case you don't want to go out and buy one, it's just totally cool. I'm a painter on a budget. I don't like spending a lot of money on even on my art stuff. Ask my wife. So we try to come up with ways, different little things. You can call them painting hacks, I guess. All right, we mixed up a little bit of our Prussian blue, midnight black, and alizarin crimson and midnight black, and then just the teeniest little smidge of white, right? Just to sort of see what the color's going to look like. And I know I've got this bit down here that I sort of want to save. Maybe it looks like he's in front, but if we bring the dark section down on top of this light, then that will push him back, and those will be in the front. Totally up to us. What do we feel like doing, guys? This is the part on the live videos, especially when my wife is here to moderate the comments, that you guys can suggest something. Right now I've got the camera, the screen facing away from me so I can't see on both cameras actually. Let's see, guys. All right, so I can't see your comments. I will reply to everyone afterwards and say thank you. That was a good idea, and I may use your idea in a later painting. But let's see. On Sundays we go live on Facebook, and my wife is here to moderate, so you can literally suggest something, and we'll create a painting out of all of your guys' suggestions. Okay. A little bit more blue down here, just so I can take and just sort of accent this dark shadow. I don't want to cover up all that blue though. I want to leave a little of it dark. Right? Maybe there's a bit of dark that comes in there. Just doing what the canvas tells me. It's a little darker over here. It's very bright and white over there, so maybe we'll keep our shadows on this side. And then we've got this section up here, which will come down. And maybe we got another bit up there. This large bit of shadow might be the bottom of a cloud, right? So let's get some of that color in there. Just dropping it in random places. Okay? And that way when we blend it out, it will blend out in different kind of colored shadows. We got those bits. Let's see what we're working with. Let's see, without even cleaning the 1-inch brush, right? Still got that blue on there. We're going to come in and sort of grab from underneath and just pull upwards in our little circles. Right? Grab them underneath. Maybe there's a bit in there. Totally up to us. We're going to work from bottom to top on this sky today, okay? Normally you come down from top to bottom, but in this case, I want to go from bottom to top. Because again, try something, you might end up liking it, right? I'm going to stay above our shadows, give ourselves a little bit of color to play with. Just sort of mushing it on, and then we're going to come back in and just make our clouds little circles, right? Just barely touching the paint, because this white paint will disappear. It will leave you forever and be gone. Okay, I'll swipe these over like that. And it's not, we didn't blend out all the paint. We didn't leave, we left it sort of, thicker here, a little bit thinner on the outside, very thin on this side. Doesn't all have to be the same. Okay. Now I wonder what it would look like if we took a little bit of white and blue, sort of mixed together, right? And did something else. Maybe put a little bit over here. There's a piece over here that's all on its own. It's just mixed with that white and blue. Plus there's blue underneath and there's blue on the brush, right? So we got to be very gentle when you do these ones that are far off. They're not really connected to any big storm. They're just kind of wispy, far off little wispy bits of cloud, right? And what's cool is we didn't plan that. It just looks that way on its own, right? It felt something and it did it right there on its own. A little bit of, just the teeniest little bit of blue shadow up in here. Smallest little bit, just gives it a little more depth, right? Now why don't we come in with this other big bit of shadow. We're just going to extend this whole thing. And that's what's so cool about the clouds, is you can literally do anything you want. I just don't want to have a whole lot of paint on here, right? So we're going to scrape this. Maybe it comes down underneath and cuts this cloud off, which is going to make this cloud be in front of this cloud. It's going to push it way back in the distance, right? And there's a bit of black underneath there. Just on its own, this real far off piece. Don't know if it connects in here. Don't know, it's mystery, right? Just leave some mystery in there. All right, we're gonna come up, we're gonna start making our next bit of shadow, leaving some white spaces in between, right? And come down over this cloud, which will push it back. And we're gonna mix up this whole little bit into this nice gray mixture, right? This grayish color that it turns out to be with all the other stuff. Look at that beautiful bit of dark in there. All right, why don't we throw some of the white, maybe we'll throw it in there. Again, not too much because I don't want it to be too thick. Wherever the paint is thickest, right, the most thick, that's where your cloud's gonna be the brightest, okay? So again, we're gonna start to just bring it down over that shadow a little bit, in between those two, just let it mix. Right, you want it to be different in places, so don't spend too much time in a certain area trying to make it look like a certain thing, right? Just let it go. Let it go, come back, just like 2 or 3 swipes in each little spot. That's literally it. And you're gonna see, if you don't do it too much, you'll have little grooves in the paint. You can see all your little brush strokes, right? You want that. We're gonna swipe up, because those little thicker areas where we can actually see the brush and everything, look at that. Those are what's gonna look cool when we kind of flatten them out. It'll give us these brighter areas. There we go. Look at that sucker right there. This huge bit of cloud that's come in, right? And then you can always take and add little highlight bits if you want them to be lighter in certain areas. You can go in and add a little touch of light. But again, don't overmix it, guys. If you overmix it, it will look the same as everything else, right? That's a beautiful bit of cloud right there. And what's cool is you can't tell me that this cloud isn't out there somewhere. There's no shape. There's no designated shape for a cloud. Okay, we're going to mix these up, trying to leave a little area of light in between. Just initially, and then we can go back and look at it and see what it looks like when it's all mixed up. And even just not even over mixing those shadows, right? That dark bit we kind of left thicker places, not even over mixing it. Those look great. You know what I mean? Then it gives us an idea of what that cloud shape might look like. Again, the canvas telling us what to do. I have none of this is in my brain. I'm literally doing it. We're looking at it and going, it might look cool if it was like this or like that. Right? It might look cool if there's a bit of dark underneath and then there's a bit of light. Maybe there's a little bit over here. And then we'll just see what it looks like. Maybe it's lighter underneath on this side over here. Maybe there's a bigger bit of white over there, right? And then we're just gonna see. We're gonna come in just very lightly, again, so lightly, like you're just mixing it up. You're just running the brush through the paint. You're not trying to move it. You're just trying to run the bristles through it, okay? Swipe over. And then we can see what it looks like, right? We can come back, we can take a step back and look, see what it looks like. Looks really good. It's not too noticeable, it's not too dark and crazy. I do want those. Maybe there's a bit of white that comes out on the edge. Just all the white, all on its own. Just trying to get away from all this storm, right? Again, barely mixed it up at all. Swipe it over, and now you get even these differences in white, these little imperfections that just make it look really neat. Like really neat. Let's see something here. It doesn't even really help a whole heck of a lot. Just sort of checking back here. How you guys doing? I'm looking behind the camera sort of to see what it sort of looks like. It's almost like there's a bit of glare, but it's all right. We'll figure it. It's wet paint, right? It's going to be some glare with some wet paint. Don't give me a hard time about it. All right, so now in my mind, it looks like these are further back. Then we got another little section, and then we got a bigger section over the top of us, right? And this bigger section, it just ended up being too white for me. So it came in with a little bit of dark in different places. Right? There's a bit of dark underneath it. just grab it and make it do what you want it to do. Right? And then when we do this bit, we're just doing it very lightly, right? So now it looks like we've changed our sky, which is really cool. Literally do whatever you want to do, man or lady. It is totally up to us. And that's literally that's what Bob talked about. That is the joy of painting, right? You literally just go for it. Do something. Try it out. Try something you've never tried before. Try a different size canvas. Try a different orientation. Don't just paint the same stuff over and over. You can keep painting landscapes. Like, I'm not saying I only paint landscapes. I can't paint a portrait. Don't ask me to paint a person. It's just not going to come out right. Okay, I've tried. Trust, I've tried. But I've honestly forgotten what I was talking. An idea just came into my head and pushed what I was saying out. So that's the joys of painting with Josh, right? Never really know what he's saying. Don't tell my wife I might have just got pants on the shorts that I wasn't supposed to wear while I paint. Okay? Don't tell her. Damn apron. Okay. Speaking of aprons, you guys can get this apron at happylittlelandscapes.com if you go to my Etsy store, etsy.com/shop/happylandscapeart. I've created my own little apron. A bit of dark run through with a little light on each side. Look at that, guys. Got my own little apron that I would love to see how dirty you guys can make, right? Mine is pretty filthy. I don't know how well you can see it. It's pretty filthy. But I would love to see if you guys can make it even dirtier than mine. And they're only like 25 bucks. So support me. Go to my Etsy store, etsy.com/shop/happylandscapeart. Or you can find it on my website, happylittlelandscapes.com. But support me just with the little stuff. You don't have to buy a painting. But everything goes towards creating these videos for you guys, buying more canvases. It's taking the time it takes just to get set up for one of these videos, just so I can show you guys a couple cool tricks that might turn you into a better painter, right? So take those few extra minutes, browse my Etsy store, and show me some love, because the more things you guys support from me, the more little phone cases or different things that you guys buy from me, apron, shirts, pillows, all that stuff, the more free canvases I can buy. And, well, the more canvases I can buy, bring you guys free videos, right? That is the goal. There we go. That's a cool looking cloud up there. All right, nice little stormy sky. And then what I wanted to do is take a little bit of like dark colored, same shadow color that we made, right? And just throw like a bit of storm off in that thing, right? And it's very dark in the middle, and as we get to the side, we're sort of touching less and less and less in order to make it sort of fan out into this rainstorm, okay? In fact, we might need to come down a little bit more, or even from here too, just to give us a look that we want, right? Sort of pulling down, shaking it off. These ones I really want to blend. I don't want to have like real hard lines. I want to have a very soft line back there. Just very soft striations, and there are differences in the color, and that'll give you a cool looking bit of rain coming down. There's a bit more in there. I don't need a whole lot of paint. So, just a little bit, right? You guys think you need all this paint, or big globby, we're going to get globby, but it's going to be down at the bottom of the canvas where everything is the closest to us, right? Can we even see a difference on the camera? I can see it up close. There's a little bit of soft rain back there. It's not even as dark as I want it to be. So let's get a little bit more. We're talking about like a desert downpour, right? Anybody in here or watching? Anybody watching from the desert? I've lived in Las Vegas for 31 years now. Every year wondering why I still live here in the summertime, because it is hot. Today it's very nice out. It's like 80, barely even 80 degrees outside, which is cool for Las Vegas in the summer, right? All right, now we got our far off little bit of desert storm back there. We're going to take a micro-size liner brush, very fine script liner, little tiny little guy. You can find these on my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/happylandscapeart. and find these little knead-in micro liner brushes. It'll save you a couple bucks if you shop through my site, and I might make a couple pennies off of each little set that you buy. Okay, we're going to come in trying to stay out of your guys' way. A yardstick is a great thing, and I noticed in my last video I was talking about this yardstick. In the olden days, they used to have easels that had a bit that you could slide across, and that way you could rest your hand and make little fine details, right? I don't have the kind of money to buy an easel like that. So again, painter on a budget, got a $2 yardstick, and you can put it here, right? But obviously you don't want to touch it flat against the wet paint, otherwise all the wet paint's going to come off onto your yardstick. Put it here, and then you can kind of, it's hard to show on the camera from this angle, but you can sort of push it closer or pull it further away depending on what's comfortable for you, right? Mine is about maybe 2 inches away from the canvas when I'm doing these. Like I'm even resting it against the bit of my easel down here so it's nice and taut. It's not going to mess up the edge of your canvas right there. And then you can come in and make little fine little details and stuff. Alright, so we'll come in, we'll make this far off bit of lightning way back in the distance. Come back, get some more liquid white. I don't want it to be too prominent, this bit of lightning. So I don't want it too bright or too big. Right? Let's see. There we go. I want it too bright or too big, too noticeable. Right, so we're just going to leave it out there like that. Up here at the top. And again, if you guys are like, I can't really see it, I need more details, then watch the edited version of the video. In that part, we take our better camera and we zoom in and show you what it looks like when we're making these fine details, almost to where you're as far away from it as I am. They're going to take this bit of liquid white that we left and sort of blend it into the bottom of these clouds here. That way it'll look like the lightning sort of lit up the area that it came out of when it dropped down. Very neat. Very cool. It's cool, Josh. It's cool. It's so cool. How did you get into painting, Josh? I hear that all the time. How did you get into painting? Well, my mom's mother passed away. It was a horrible thing. And in order to sort of deal with the sadness of losing a close family member like that, I started watching a lot of Bob Ross, just like the majority of you probably have. And he's always saying, anyone can do it. And I said, okay, Bob, I'm going to believe you, and I'm going to try. So I tried. And my paintings came out really good, and I sort of started this little side business, little small business career out of it, right? Okay, so that's the origin story of the superhero Josh, the origin story, right? Okay, we're going to get all of our dark colors, right? The browns, the 2 dark browns, the blue, the black, the crimson, all these dark colors. Because I want to make like a little deserty mountain. And when you throw the brown in there, it really gives it this nice color versus normal mountains that we make are just red, black, and blue. Some of them have a touch of brown, but if you want to paint a desert, you're going to need a lot of brown and a lot of yellow and green, actually. And you'll see when we get down there, almost like this one back here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This little blue one back here. Sort of what we're going from, right? And I love the way that one turned out, so maybe this one will turn out the same way. Okay, again, I'm going to get the slightest little bit of white and mix about half of my pile in with that white. And now, I don't know how well you can see, we have 2 separate piles, one a little bit lighter colored, one not. So now with this lighter colored one first, we can take and make this far off bit of mountain back there. Let's say it lives over these mountains right here, right? You can make this little bit. You want this imperfect thing. You don't want it up here looking like an iPhone, right? I painted one that the one down here, the deserty sunset one down there. And the first thing my daughter says about the mountain goes, "Dad, it looks like an iPhone." I was like, okay, which gave me a cool idea. Gave me a cool idea, but it wasn't supposed to look like an iPhone, kid. You're killing me. Alright, we're going to make a couple little striations, little different bits that come off the mountain, different shapes, right? Come down, maybe this guy, there's a bit over here, maybe it connects in the middle. Totally up to us what we want to do. You can see even some of the browns coming out in this lighter colored paint here. And maybe he goes off the side of the canvas. We'll figure it out when we start to pull him out, right? Maybe this guy comes down as another little step or another little step. Something. We're going to get it figured out. Some dark down here at the bottom. Maybe we come off this way, right? Doesn't have to look good with your knife. You just got to sort of set out a plan. Take a plan, set out a plan of your mountain, right? We're going to grab it. Still haven't washed this brush. Try to show you guys paintings where you don't have to wash the brush all the time. I have brush cleaner in my Amazon shop. If anyone is interested, you can use the same brush cleaner that I have. Okay, finish the edge. Maybe I loved it when this guy went this way, this side, right? And what you have to do is think about your angles. All these little striations and lines will show you which way the land goes, okay? And then we come off, and in the desert it's always pretty flat. Come off like that. Little bump. Bring it down. You can see we've come this way, but we've stayed along this edge where everything is going the other direction. So we have these like a little 3D mountain, okay? Cover this up down here. Again, blending this so it's very soft, because we're going to have to put a lot of grass and all sorts of stuff on it. This bit comes down and turns. There's a ridge, and then it comes down. You can sort of make up how you want your little deserty mountain to look just by your brush strokes, right? And you guys might not be able to see it from way back there, right? But again, tune into the next video where I'll show you the up close views and stuff like that. We're filming the video now. I just wanted to give you guys an insight into what it's like to paint with Josh. Okay, I mean, it looks like there's a couple little steps here. Maybe we can make a step pyramid sort of deal out of that. Again, you want your perspectives correct. Think about where your light is coming from. You know, what kind of mountain you want yours to look like, okay? Now, you can either do your grass and stuff first, or your highlights and stuff like that. So what I want to do is we're going to highlight the mountain first. We're going to take that darker pile that we made out of the two colors, right? So it's pretty much the same color. And let's decide where our light and stuff is going to live, right? Where's our light coming from? So we're going to drop in these shadows, thicker on the bits where we know is going to be in the shadow, but not forgetting to shadow the light side as well. You gotta shadow the light areas, so when you go over it with your highlights, you have differences in color, okay? You want to just all have the same thing. Different bits of paint are going to grip on in different sections, right? We know our ridge is going to come along this way, so we can come in and add some different colors in there, just little different bits, right? Now we're going to grab a bit of the red color, mix that in with that dark, just so it's again different, and we're going to come out in different ways over here. These little bits that are poking out, little differences, right? So now we can tell there's a bit of red color in there, and it's all going out towards the horizon. I like that red so much, we're going to put some of it in over on this side. Little different bits, right? And we got a bit that comes out down there. Our land is dropped down a little bit, right? The level of the land is dropped down, and now we got this bit out here. And we're literally just making a mess, okay? Put a little bit more red in there, just, and you're gonna see why in a little while. This bit almost could come down. It could do whatever it wants, really. And that's the cool thing. You can literally do whatever we want to do. All right, you guys are probably like, Josh, it looks nothing like a mountain. What's this look like on the camera? Let's see. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, this glare is not good. I need to adjust the lights down a little bit. Is that better? A little bit? It's going to trip out my eyes when we go to edit this sucker, that's for sure. Alright, you're probably like, Josh, this is a horrible looking mountain. It's not what a mountain looks like, it's not what the desert looks like, okay? We're going to flatten down some of those bigger, thicker areas. Right, maybe there's a lake that lives over on the side of this one. Bring some of that color down, okay? And then we're going to start dropping in, or tapping in the direction of our land, okay? So we know that all this is coming down. We want to have all this fog. And we can swipe up. And all it's really doing is just sort of flattening down the area. Just flattening it down. Coming up, grabbing some of that dark, bringing it down, just giving us little differences in color, right? Then over here, we're going to go out. It's basically grabbing it and then pulling it out to the side. Right? Grabbing a couple little bits on the last bit and pulling it out to the side. There we go. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to put in some faraway grass, okay? So I grabbed a little bit just on either side of the brush, right? And I'm going to leave spaces, leave gaps in between. You got this bit lives on a hill over here, or this comes down this way. Depends on how you tap it in is what your land is going to look like. All right, we got the phthalo green and the sap green, okay? We got all these little far away little bits of grass. Little far away little bits. And you can take those and swipe them, and you get all these little different colors back in there. But we're not even done, because I like putting little bits of yellow and all sorts of stuff in my grass. You can put little bits of red in there if you wanted to. Just little. Red in the grass very, very gently, okay? I'm telling you now. And you don't want a lot of paint. So after you get done dropping on your little red, little bulbs, little baubles, right, then wipe your brush off and then come back in and make that grass, okay? Now it looks as though there's a bit of dark maybe come out in different places, little shadows and stuff. Right, it helps gives our grass depth. If you're looking at this flat area, you want to have all these little different shadows and different things to help give it depth. That looks really good. You know what's going to really bring it out is if we take some of these underneath and just drop in little bits of shadow underneath these darker bits that come out. Right, and that's going to make it look really neat. Oh yeah. This side over here needs a bit more. Right, just these little dark bits. They don't have to look like anything, because again, we're just going to very lightly swipe over them, just so we have these differences in color, okay? That's all we're looking for. Little difference in color. A bit more red and black down here. And just sort of coming up with it right as we go. And that's how we paint with Josh. Come up with it as we go, okay? Alright, now I'm going to grab some of that white paint, a good amount, a good chunk of it, and some of the lighter color brown, the dark sienna or the burnt sienna or the cooked, the uncooked or cooked umber. We get too many dang colors for it. We're not going to over mix it, right? So we get all these cool colors. We're going to come grab some of that up, and let's say our light source is like way back there somewhere. So we've got our lighter colored bit of our mountain over here. Right, we're just very lightly pulling down, and whatever sticks is going to stick, okay? Very lightly. You can even drag some of it out onto those things, just giving it just that little burst of lighter colored area, right? Now what looks really cool is if you take a bit of that yellow ochre and the red and mix it in with that brown. You get a little bit different color. Come in and just give the highlights to different bits that you need to, right? A little extra bit there. And we come down, maybe it goes off, way off in the distance back there. Right, just these little different colors is what people are gonna like, right? Get a little bit more yellow ochre. You can come back and really give up like a real bright bit of light that hit a certain area, right? And you got these pieces down here, just little different little things. That's all we're really going for. And just sort of mushing them in there. They don't all have to be super textured. They don't all have to stand out. Get a bit of those two brown colors and mix those in. So now we're significantly darker. Right, we're getting around to the shadowed area of our rock, so we need to start mixing these sort of darker bits and lighter bits together as they blend around, but not overdoing it. You know what I mean? We don't need to kill this thing. We don't need to kill it to death. Now we put a little bit of black in with that brown and really change the color up as we come down. So right, so we've done like three to four different color changes just as we go around the side of this little bluff. Okay, and we got some of this back here. And we'll bring it down this way into our fog, and then we'll go back and we can fog it up again. And I really want it to be a bit darker down on this side, so we're going to come back in, give it some dark sort of shadows. You can grab a bit of straight black, but be careful, the black starts looking really neat, and then all of a sudden you've put too much black in, and you have to sort of start over. Not saying it's happened to me before, but it's happened to me before. Let's see. Come down here, very thick, very textured. Don't want a lot of light, you know, shining from underneath. A bit more of that. Give us this dark sort of shadowy line. And again, not coming down too far because we know we want this ridge over here. Right? Almost like you could walk up that sucker. A bit more brightness to our mountain by giving it a little yellow ochre in there, a couple little streaks. Maybe we got over here a couple little areas on our little ridge that are catching some sun. This one might be too dark back there. You just sort of play with it until you like it. And if you don't like how bright it is, you can always go back over and change up the shape, change up the color, add a little bit here and there, put a little bit of shadow there and here, right? And just sort of make it up as we go. That's literally what we're doing right now. Just sort of making it up, taking a step back, taking a look, adding color where we think it needs to be. Maybe there's a bit of shadowing down in here. We'll come this way. I probably want it dark down here at the bottom. Maybe that's casting a shadow back in there. And you just play with it. Just play with it. See what happens. No one's ever going to get mad at you for trying something new, right? Put a little bit of red down in here too with that brown, the red and brown mix. Sort of pull it out that way. And there's a bit of color somewhere. Maybe this guy needs to be a little bit darker, stand out. And we come out this way. You can come out as far as you want. You really can. Because you could say it's a rock, or there's a big chunk of something. Like we could take and put, ooh, that's way too much paint on my knife there, guys. Wowzif. Take and put a big old boulder back in here, right? A little bit of shadowing underneath him. Come in, light this sucker up. Right? Just little differences in color. There we go. Little differences, different things. And it's the colors that'll catch people's eye, right? We have all these different colors on this mountain. A little bit more of this reddish brown back here. It's a very beautiful bit of color. Some of that reddish brown back there, right? Grab up anything else we have. You can always make more little rock striations or little bits. And again, if you don't like them, you just go back and swipe them away. Start to blend them together. Right? We're not going to use this whole section of grass anyway. Now it's starting really to lose its bit of greenness, right? So we can take and come back and add some more of that darker green color until you like the way that it looks, right? It's literally all we're doing. Putting in a little bit of yellow in different places. Catch people's eye, right? A little bit of yellow ochre back there. And we may end up not even using, you know, whatever. We don't know what's going to be covered yet. Well, you guys do because you've already seen the video. But I don't know what's going to be covered yet. All right, why don't we take some of that green color down in here now. And we'll come down and make, you know, our own little bit of sort of shadowy grass back behind all this guy. But again, thinking about the angles, right? You see how I'm going? We're coming over this way, making little straight lines. That's because the grass over here goes this way. Right? And it's a little bit darker color because we're in the shadow of this thing. You can even take some of that dark and just dab it into your grass back here. Some of those last little bits and just drag them just into our grass, just so it's not a straight line again, right? Josh hates straight lines. So drag it into that grass on the same angle that you were painting it. And then it won't look like it's, you know, weird. We'll take the big 2-inch brush maybe. Dab it out. And it's always going to look strange if it's just green, right? That's why we put these different colors in there. Because it's just going to look weird if it's just this weird color, you know, green. A little yellow ochre, a little bit of cad yellow, and we'll just start popping these in over here like this. And yours doesn't have to have grass. You could do, you know, you could do brown dirt. You can do whatever you want. I've just sort of fallen in love with these, this bit of grass that we've been. I mean, I knew how to do it. It's not that it's a new skill that's been learned. I knew how to do it. I've watched Bob just like the rest of everybody else. I knew how to create the grass with the brush, but only recently I've really started getting into having the grass there. I like to play with a lot of fog. You guys know me, right? We do a lot of fog, a lot of foggy scenes. Bits of our mountain, you know, the base is foggy, in between the trees is foggy. You get all this fog, right? So now that bit of fog has a little bit of green life to it, pretty much. It's the same, we're using it the same way. We're just creating fog, right? All we're really doing is creating this foggy look, but we're using color with it versus just the white. Again, that's still, no matter what I do, it's still not as dark as I'd like. There we go. Get some of that dark, black, deep dark shadows in there, right? Dark, dark, dark. There we go. If all of our light is back there, or you could say that the lightning bolt has, you know, shot light out and is going to, there we go, just mixing these colors in. That red, reddish brown, right? Pulling it out just in different places. And a lot of times that's all you really have to do. It's all you got to do, and then you step back and you look at what you've done, you go, wow, like I didn't even mean to do that, right? Like I created this little thing over here that I didn't really mean, but now that I see it, I want it to look right. Look at that. We've just cleared out a little area of paint, and then I can go drop in that shadow underneath it. Really neat, guys. And again, that's the fun part about painting, you know, either painting with Josh or just sort of letting the canvas tell you what to do. That is the fun bit. It really is. Wow, this one looks good, guys. Again, like I literally step back sometimes and I go, holy cow, like look at that. That is what it's supposed to look like, right? There we go. That is what it's supposed to look like, guys. Okay, why don't we come in now? Since we have all this paint and it's just gonna go to waste, I can't keep it for another 3 or 4 days before I paint again. We're gonna make up this whole nother big bit of mountain, except we're not gonna mix this one with any white, right? If you guys have painted with me before, or you've seen enough of my videos, we know we do the far away mountain with a little bit of white, and the more close-up mountain, just straight colors, right? All we're doing is straight colors. All right, so why don't we take a bit of this, and let's just make this crazy, like, I want this mountain to be closer to us, so we're gonna make him a little bit taller than the other mountain, right? Maybe there's a bit that came up over here, and just make this crazy shape. Don't do it, you know, all these straight lines. Give it some dips, give it some love, some little bumps here and there, little cracks, and it comes down. You can see now where we're gonna have our, you know, what we're gonna allow to show with this mountain, right? Put on this paint in different places, scrape it away from the top, because we don't need all this thick paint right at the top, right? Put it down the side for the buyer. If you guys want to buy it, you know what I say. If you want to see what it looks like over here, you got to buy the sucker. All right, put some of that down in there. We're just doing it in random places, okay? I'm going to show you why. Don't worry. Show you why. And then we could cut in and have that grass be further away than this grass, almost like these little bits are connected. But I don't want to connect them. I want to have a little bit of walking area in between there. I can already tell down here my canvas is starting to get dry. These, you know, you really get what you pay for when you're painting, right? You don't get, you know, proper, you know, expensive paints. You're not going to have as easy of a time if you don't get good canvases. Or if you get a section that's just a really thirsty canvas, then you have to know how to deal with that. And we try to show you guys what to do in case this happens, or do this if this happens, right? I've had a couple comments today from some very nice fans about how I've helped them, you know, sort of have the courage to start painting, or that they're going to start soon and they were wondering, you know, what I thought about this, or what should they do in this instance. And I try to reply to everybody, guys. I really do. I try to reply to you guys. If you take the time to write to me, then I think it's only fair that I take the time to write to you guys. I just can't figure this bit of mountain out here. Just doesn't look right in my brain. Maybe we need to just cut in front of this whole thing. I love this though, the base of it. I love it. So, okay, let's see what it looks like, right? Not gonna know until we know. Let's just scrape all this paint down. And we'll just leave it like that. Look at all this stuff that came off just from sticking it on there. Alright, we're gonna grab our brush again. And just try to stay on the inside of our lines, right? Really grabbing it. And then we're just gonna come down that way. And that way we'll have two different planes to work with, right? All this bit of big thick mountain up here. But we don't want the paint to be super thick up here, right? We want it to be nice and soft. Yeah, look at how hard it is to blend these out, just because the canvas is now getting dry at the bottom, and how hard it is just to blend those little bits of color down here. But you can see all these different dark and lighter areas, right? That's why you do those random bits with your knife, because you get all these dark areas, all these light areas, places where you can highlight different things. That is the weirdest looking mountain I've ever done. It really is strange looking. But we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it. I like it. As you can see, it's taller than our mountain over here, which means it's in front, it's much closer. Got our bits of texture back there, got this little section, then we can throw some more grass down in the front. And in order to do that, I'm gonna need to move this, guys. And since we're doing this, we might as well just take the time. You guys know me, we always finish the sides, right? That includes the top. I hung a picture in my cabin one time as I sit here double chinning it for everybody. My mom had a cabin and we hung a picture in there and one of my paintings in there, and I just so happened to be going down the stairs one night or one day, one time at some point I was going down the stairs and I could just see the whole unfinished top to this canvas, and it just sort of cheapened it in my mind, right? It's my own painting, but it just didn't look finished without, you know, the top being done. So take the time and do it. I mean, what else are you doing anyway? Take the time and really make it to where, there we go. Look at that. Really make it to where it just looks finished all the way around. We even finished the mountain on this side, right? Took and finished this guy over here. Threw a little bit of texture on him. Then we have our grass down the bottom, right? Look at that. We could make this dirt. We could have grass into dirt on this side. Maybe it doesn't rain as much over here. What we want to do is just get that last bit of the canvas that's on the very bottom and just fill that in. I'm trying not to use any more liquid white. Like, we've gone, you know, so long. It's not even a long video. I mean, how long have we been filming for? Just about an hour. That's not bad. And already, just because this canvas is so thirsty, it's not a, you know, top quality canvas, that it's really starting to dry up already. Okay. Let me do a bit. There's a bit of like darker colored shadow under here. Every so often, just a bit of shadow. Right, and we can take those and give us a little bit of shadow under there. And if we don't like it, we can just keep blending it until we like it. There we go. Doesn't look bad. Alright, again, we're going to come in with those shadow colors, right? Dark brown, black, crimson, blue, even the light brown. And initially, we just want to get these shadows right, okay? So we're going to come back. If all the light is on that side, there's not going to be a whole lot of brightness over here. So we're going to keep the, you know, our highlights, maybe this darker brown color, maybe this darker brown color, and then our shadows are going to be black, okay? So again, just dropping very thick bits of paint on, and that is going to give us all these differences in color. I don't know how well you guys can see them, but we've got different bits of black in different places at different angles, and that way when we go in with our shadows, there's a bit down here, or when we go in with our highlights, then we're going to have all these little different shadows to mix in with and change all that. There's a bit down there. Maybe this little bottom bit has some light, so there's some shadow underneath. So it's basically about doing about half the work, going back and doing your highlights, coming back and doing the other half of the work, okay? Alright, let's get all this dark color out of the way because we're going to need it. We're going to save it for those shadows. We're going to get some of our browns again, some of the white, some of the yellow ochre and the bright red, maybe some of the cad yellow, maybe some of the Indian yellow. Screw it, just get everything. But the point is we're not going to over mix, right? So we've got all these different stripes of color. Right? Come back in, get these different colors, right? You can take some of that dark color and throw it in there, and it'll become a little bit duller. A little bit more dull. Yeah, duller. Alright. A little bit of that. Let's grab some more of that dark brown. And just keep playing with it until we like the way that this shadow looks. And again, don't forget to add that red. You get these really cool little bits. And now we've almost nearly matched this red over here. And we have a whole lot of paint because in this one we have a whole lot of highlights, right? It's all pretty much in the shadow. So just don't cover all your shadows. Leave some of your, man, that was a big amount of paint on that guy. Leave in some of your shadows and just sort of, we're just dragging down in this quick little motion, right? And get it on the sides over here. we're going for pretty much the same color brown. We can add a couple little highlights and stuff. But this is like our medium shadows for our brown. Right? Just in little areas. We're not trying to make big long strokes. I don't want to have, see a spot where one sort of stops and starts and you can see a difference. I really don't want that. And we want it to be nice and dark. Get a bit of color out here. Get this nice dark colored giant little bit of rock. With color and shadow in different places, right? We got this bit that comes out down here. This sucker got big. Here we go. What's it look like? Does it look good? Guys? Anybody? Looks great. And it's because we didn't cover up all of our shadows. You want to leave those mysterious places in there, right? We can come back with a little bit of our yellow ochre and maybe just on the edges. Right, it got a little bit brighter up there. The yellow ochre looks so good with the brown, you guys. It's hard not to overdo it with this yellow ochre because it just starts looking so great. And then you start using it, and it starts making, and you get all these crazy colors and things you didn't even imagine. And then all of a sudden, now you have too much yellow ochre on there. I've done it. I've done it. So we're just going to sort of accentuate these brighter areas, but still leaving all that brown that we use, right? We're using very little amount of yellow ochre. We're just letting it sort of mix in with that other brown, get those shadows going. A bit here and there, and then just every so often you get this real bright little piece of yellow ochre. That looks really good. Really. Right, don't want to cover up everything though. Remember, don't cover everything, Josh. Don't do it. You're not going to like it if you cover up everything. And trust me, that's speaking from experience. I know. I know you're not going to like it. A little bit of dark colors underneath our lighter, shadowy bits, right? We're going to have some shadows under there. Even come back, since we're not going to use much left of the black, and just put some real, like some straight up black just right in there in our dark areas, just to really darken it up a bit. Remember, you don't want to have any straight lines. You can have it real textured though, you know what I mean? You can have a crazy textured, real thick, everything's just sitting on top of each other kind of mountain. You just don't want to cover everything, right? All right, we're going to pull these down here. See how our angle is changing. Let me throw some of the red, little bits of red back in here, right? That are going to blend in. It's not just red. So don't just throw red back there and be like, oh, Josh, that red looked like crap. I'm going to throw in some of that brown too, the darker browns, the dark sienna, and our Van Dyke brown. Throw some of those bits in there and just let them mix. Right? Get all these cool colors. And it's something you might not have thought of before. Right? So just let them mix together. See what happens. Alright, we're going to take some of this now, pull it down in different places, right? And just from that little line of grass, we've already separated our rear bit of mountain back there, right? And it looks great. It looks great. Just trying to get these last little bits down in here real dark. Straight up black, maybe a little bit of blue. Just change up the color. Okay. Come in again with those darker color greens. Don't need a whole lot of paint, right? Even up there is too much, so I'm going to drop some of that back in here. It's coming up, and then when I come back now, I can start to blend all this green out without any, having too much of it there. Oh, we lost our lake. I was going to have a little lake down there, but it's all good. All right, now we're going to swipe up in the direction that we laid our highlights down, which changes, right? These ones are about here, out there. They keep getting flatter and flatter and flatter. And just dab in these different little bits. All right, that's just the green, remember. Every bit of grass has a little bit of yellow in it too. We're going to dab those in, leaving some of them thicker, maybe to look like little desert flowers. A little bit of that red, just a couple bits though, guys. You can see the amount of red. Look at this brush, it's like a rainbow, all these different colors. Because we still haven't washed the brush, right? You don't have to wash it every 3 seconds. Literally don't. Showing you guys right now that you do not have to do that. Put some little bit more dark kind of phthalo green down in there. And now we got this cool looking painting. You can leave it just like that, but you guys know me. You know me, right? What do I want to put in there? Someone's saying, a UFO. Put a UFO in, Josh. Right? Is that what everyone's saying? No, that's not what I'm thinking of, but we do need something to focus on, right? And we still have all this extra paint. So, again, we're going to make up a pile of dark. You guys know what that is. Come on, somebody comment. What is Josh's pile of dark, quote unquote? Midnight Black, Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Blue, or Prussian Blue, whatever the blue is, right? Make that dark color. Because you mix them all together, and if you mix them up well enough, it will look black, okay? Now I want to create like a little bit of, little flat area where you can see I've dug a little hole out. And the reason that we've dug out that hole is so we can put a little paint thinner in there. It becomes like a little bowl, right? Just fill up your little bowl that you created with that paint thinner, and then when your bowl is empty, go back and get some more paint thinner. But you want it to be like water, like really, really thin. Like if we took our palette and tilted it up, it would all run off, right? And then why don't we come in and we'll do this crazy little sticky bush. And you're like, Josh, a bush doesn't start up there. I know, guys, I know. We're going to bring this bush down. What we really need to do is get a bit of our same color on our filbert. And come in, and that filbert will just literally push everything else out of the way and deposit our stick right up here in the front. Right, and there's another little bit that goes off. Something like that. Or like this bit that goes and it's real thick, and then all of a sudden it's very thin. A little piece of a branch down there, right? And yours can look however you want it to look. There we go. Alright, now we're going to come in with our little brush, our little micro liner brush, and our paint thinner, and we're going to extend these little bits of branch out. And you can also low light them with your dark color on the one side. Right, so maybe we got a branch that comes in here. And again, now look, the branch, just because of the way that I touch the canvas, is thicker at the end than it is down here, where it connects to the tree. You can't have that. You want it to be very thin out at the edge. With a lot of little different sticks coming off of it, right? Again, you need a whole lot of paint thinner, like 6 or 7 dabs into the cup and then right into your little bowl that we created on our palette, right? The wetter it is, the easier it will be to maneuver and dump color on. So if you plan on making a lot of little sticks, you need a lot of paint thinner. Now I don't want to really cut in. I've done it before where I've cut into the lightning, which does end up pushing the lightning back, but I don't want to cover the lightning on this one. just sort of making all these little branches, right? Yours can have as many or as few little branches as you want. Don't need a ton of branches. Maybe this guy comes up, comes over there. There's another bit that comes off the tree over here. And again, this is just the shadow of our tree, okay? It's not the full, or you could call it a bush even. It's not the full bush. We're not seeing full bush yet, guys. It's no full bush yet. Okay, put some of these, and it just helps push all these little mountains back. If there's something nice and dark in front to look at, it's going to push those mountains even further back than they already were. Maybe this guy cuts in front of those branches right there. Comes up, cuts into our mountain area. Get this bit down here, goes off. There's a broken piece of wood down there, or another little branch. Totally up to us. Now every time that you make a branch with this liquid clear, with your paint thinner on there, when it dries it's going to look different from different angles, which would be cool. As you're walking past it, you'll see all these little differences because the paint is thinner and thicker and shiny and glossy. And again, we really didn't have to do much to get that look. We just used the paint thinner, right? Chunk a big one over there on the side of the mountain. And just fill him in. Like so, like so. And we got this one that wraps around that way. And when you go over your thick area of your mountains, you're basically clearing the way so you can come back in and fill it in again with your paint thinner. If yours are as thick as mine are anyway. This I want right in the front. Oh, you son of a butt. There we go. Which just means, and you want to know why it did that? You want to know why it got fat right at the end of the branch like I've been saying not to do? It's because I didn't have enough paint thinner on my brush and I had to push harder, which meant more bristles, and that's what caused that. Alright, now what I'm doing is just a couple little flips here and there, little sticky twig, little piece of a branch that didn't get to live, right? It just started to grow off and died and started to grow in a different direction. Last little couple details here. A little bit of a branch come off. And this is the part where you can be messy, right? You want to have all these little teeny tiny imperfections. That's what a bush is. It's a bunch of imperfect little branches. They're not all, the same size or shape or thickness. They don't all grow at the same time. Just a bunch of imperfections. I'm just taking this bit on my shadowy side of the tree. Same stuff we've been making it out of, you know what I mean? But on this shadowy side, actually maybe this would be the shadowy side for this section. And then I'm going to come back in with my yellow ochre and brown and highlight the tree. And liquid white, of course. Yellow ochre, brown. Okay, slightest little bit of red. You guys talk me into it, okay? I'm going to come in, get that liquid white, really start mixing it up so we get this brown color, but it's very thin. And the liquid white is going to help it stick to this very thin paint that we have up here already. A little bit of yellow in there. All right, now we got this little bit of paint. We can come back in and just in certain areas brighten up our tree branch a little bit. They don't have to connect. Maybe this side the light's hitting on this inner side, so we can bring that down. Again, it doesn't all have to be the same color, right? We're just doing it on this one lighter side and sort of filling up where it's, where the trunk is thick. Sort of filling it up with a little bit of color. And we got a little bit of light on the top of this guy. Or the light comes around here and stays on that edge. Up to us. But you want to have about half your tree branch in the light and half of it in the darkness. And again, they don't have to connect. Just stay on the same side. Whatever side you initially did your highlights on, remember where the sun is coming from and do them on that side. But again, you don't have to do the whole tree. You want to have some of those dark branches. Okay? Just makes it look more realistic. And you can have lighter areas of highlight, darker areas. Just let it go. Let it go, man. Sort of blend those in together. And this is why you don't do too many dang tree branches, Josh. Throw those out. A little bit of color on them. We have one over here too. There we go. Just adding a little bit of this dark color now. Come through, little swipey swipes. Right? Doesn't need to be a straight line. And again, it's just sort of mixing the colors all in together. Hey, we almost forgot about this guy. Get him down there. Leaving most of him dark, right? A little bit of color on our branches. Fill those in. These ones are more in the shadow. Down there. It looks really good, guys. I always seem to forget one branch. Every time I do it, I forget this one branch. There we go. That's very bright. So remember to get all of your branches. Even if they're just barely touched. Make sure you get them all. I mean, some of the smaller ones you can leave dark, you know what I mean? Or the very edge if you're nervous about coming up on the edge. You can leave these darker up here. But just so there's this little bit of, doesn't even have to be bright colored brown. It's just a little bit of brown, a little bit of dark, right? Looking good. And I know we're running a little bit long on time like we always do. And there's probably no one left watching. So we're just going to do this for ourselves. I came up a little crazy with that. There we go. Beautiful, guys. See how much fun you have when you just listen to the canvas and let it tell you what to do? You get this beautiful, beautiful little things start happening that you might not have planned on before. There we go. All right. Again, it doesn't all have to be the same color, right? You don't want it to be. You want it to be different. Different browns, different blacks, different whites, all sorts of stuff right down in there. And this one turned out really good, you guys. I don't think we really need anything else. I really don't even think we need the bushes at the bottom of that guy. To be quite honest, we're probably done. We'll clean up these brushes, show you guys some classified stuff, and then we'll get out of everyone's hair for today, right? Did the whole painting with these two blender brushes without washing them one time. It's all about how you do it, right? What order you do things. And how thick you put your paint on, right? You gotta have it very thin, very nice and thin. Dab off the brush, dab. Right? I have a 9-year-old. Don't judge me. Let's see. All right, guys. Now, what happened to my liner brush? Here we go. Now, normally I sign in just plain liquid white, but today we mixed it with a little bit of yellow ochre. Just because I love this yellow ochre over here. And it's gorgeous. Sort of stick with the theme, stick with the color. And then we're going to do our birds, and that's it. This is why we need the trusty yardstick, guys. That way we can come add our little family of birds right back in here. Just off flying. There we go. Just trying to make them look good, guys. That's all. There we go. Okay. Me, my wife, my daughter, going to every single painting. Well, 98%. When they're not in a painting, it's literally because I forgot. That's all. And too much on my mind happening at the same time. Trying to paint this thing for you guys, right? Just like this little branch could use some love. Just want to get those slight, little tiny differences, okay? Even this guy, he looks like too bright. So you can take and sort of drag that paint away. It'll get stuck back up in your brush again. And then you can go stick it somewhere else. And now it's not so bright. Just really want the highlights on the edges of the branches, really. So. But besides that, it turned out really good. Thank you guys all for sticking with me. Thanks for hanging out, YouTube, and watching this scene sort of come together live. It turned out really great. You can almost still see little bits where I want it to be darker, though. And that's what happens. You start something, and you just work at it until you like the way that it looks. So while I'm doing this, I want to tell you guys thank you. I love all of my fans. You guys are the best. You're literally the best fans. I try to reply to everybody, so if you have a question, please send it in. You can talk to me on Facebook at Happy Landscape Art. You can talk to me on Instagram at Happy Little Landscapes. I try to reply here on YouTube. So you can message me if you have a question about anything on YouTube here. And yeah, really just trying to get some dark in with that highlight there. So you guys go to my website, happylittlelandscapes.com. I offer teaching classes, like one-on-one classes we can do via Zoom, all sorts of stuff. All the links to all of my pages and all of my stores, happylittlelandscapes.com. Go check it out, man. Besides that, I mean, I could sit here and play with this thing until I ruin it and then have to start over. And I don't really want to do that. So we're just trying to leave a little line of highlight on the edges of some of these branches. Some of them you get a little bit more light colors, some of them, you know, a little bit darker. And just those differences are going to catch people's eye, right? But again, I could sit here for hours and do this. We're going to stop. You guys are probably screaming, Josh, stop, because that's what I do. I'll be sitting there editing my videos going, stop, what are you doing? Why do I still have my glasses on? I'm inside. A crazy ass. I go, Josh, stop. Like, please don't paint anymore. Like, it's perfect. Stop. Don't do anything. But without my wife here moderating and me not looking at the comments, imagine how long this hour-and-a-half long painting would take if I was checking to every comment and replying to everything. It'd be ridiculous, right? So, thanks for hanging out with me on the live. If you want to see it more closer or closely, if you want to see zoomed-in details where you can actually see the brown and the black and the brown, all these different colors in these trees, check out the next video where I'll edit it, I'll zoom in, I'll show you little things. We zoom in almost to the point where the canvas fills up the entire screen that you're watching on. Therefore, you can get very close to all these little details, okay? So again, thanks you guys for hanging out. Thanks you. Josh, thanks you. Thank you guys for hanging out, and subscribe to all my channels, especially YouTube. I'm almost to the monetization section where we can actually start making a few pennies from these videos on YouTube, right? So subscribe on YouTube. You can check me out on Facebook at Happy Landscape Art, Instagram at Happy Little Landscapes. You literally find everything. I'm on Twitch and Pinterest and all these different places. You can find them on happylittlelandscapes.com. I really like how this one came out, guys. And I hope you do too, and I hope you try it. If you do try it, send it into facebook.com/happylandscapeart, okay? And you can direct message me via my art Facebook page, Happy Little Landscapes, which is at Happy Landscape Art. Don't ask, okay? Happy Little Landscapes is too long of a tag for Facebook, but it's okay for Instagram, even though they're owned by the same company. But it doesn't matter. It's fine. Happy Landscape Art on Facebook. Hope you guys go over there, check it out, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, follow me on all these things, and just love everything that I put out, right? No, honestly, I really appreciate you guys. I can only reach so many people, right? When I go live, not the entire world sees my live, right? I really wish they did. But, you know, I need your guys' help grabbing that worldly audience of wherever you're from. Just share it. Share it to your page. Drop it in an art group. Say, hey, everyone, you should try this guy. He's really awesome, right? And share the link. Put my YouTube link in things. Put different things in different places. And help me grab all those people. And we'll just shrink the world down. Bring them right into this room, right into the studio. And we'll teach them how to paint. Or they can just sit and relax. You can put me on while you go to sleep. I'm really boring, right? Boring enough to go to sleep too. Which is fine. It's fine. It is what it is. So, all right. You guys take care. I'm going to take a couple pictures of this thing. We may end up putting it up on Instagram. I just posted this one to Instagram earlier today if you want to see the entire image. That one's coming out next week. This video, that one came out last week, right? Because it's coming out next week. But it came out last week. This video comes out today, but it won't. It'll come out in like 2 Wednesdays. But either way, love you guys. I always filibuster at the end. I don't get to talk to many people, and you guys are my friends, right? Are you my friend? Be my friend, please. All right, no more messing about. I really like how this one came out. Nothing really I would change about it. Love these differences in greens and the yellows and the reds, and it's just beautiful, right? So I'm going to take the camera. We're going to like slowly pan in, zoom in on what it looks like so you guys can get the first look up close and personal. And besides that, you can take and add bushes down here if you wanted to and highlight and stuff, but I think it looks great, just the way it is. So let me grab a couple cameras and show you guys the finished deal. Oh, you're kidding. My one phone ran out of space. How funny is that? Ran out of space, baby. All right, let's take the YouTube guys that are still here, give you guys a closer look at what this canvas actually turned out to be. Look at that. It is just fantastic. I might even just do the YouTube videos from like this close. You guys wouldn't even see me, which is fine. Nobody wants to look at Josh anyway. I see all these other YouTubers that have, it's just their arm, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I like having that little bit of personalization with my face, right? But okay, bye YouTube, glad you like it. It's gonna be up in a couple Wednesdays from now. In order to let me get time to edit it and split out my content so I don't just get stuck and not have anything to put out for you guys. So a couple weeks, you'll see the edited version of this. Thanks for hanging out with me and staying live. And I hope you guys really like it. It turned out fantastic. And yeah, there's nothing I would change. So we'll see you guys later. I've got a whole nother life to live and things to do. But for now, we are done painting and we'll say goodbye. And we love you guys. Mwah, love the fans. Take care. Have a good day.